Hey everyone, this is Daniel Holzapple at Blue Lake Rancheria's Daluviwi Community Garden. Thanks for joining our indoor seed starting project. So we put together a video describing the steps that you'll be taking to start your seeds in your home. Your kits will include a seed starting tray with 8 6-pack plugs and a packet of California native poppies, a packet of lettuce, a packet of kale, and a packet of tomatoes. You're also going to have some plant labels to use and potting mix, of course. Also in each kit is going to be a set of instructions. It goes step by step through everything you need to do to get your seeds started. So initially, what you're going to be doing is taking your potting mix and you're going to put it into the tray and mix in with some water until the potting mix is damp but not moist. You're going for the feeling of a slightly wrung out sponge. What this is doing is it's saturating the peat moss which is in your potting mix, making it so that it expands to create a nice fluffy home for the seeds to start in. Now you guys have enough seed mix to fill all 8 of your plug trays. So just crumble it in lightly. Just crumble the mix between your fingers, let it pour into the plugs. And this is going to again help to create a nice fluffy environment for your seeds to germinate in. Once they're all filled, or rather overfilled a little bit, you're going to want to level it out. Just use the side of your hand or a ruler or anything you have. And just level it out so all the soil mix is flat. And then you're going to give it all just 1 or 2 taps in the tray. What that's going to do is just help fill in any little air pockets that might have formed as you were crumbling the mix in. So at that point, you're pretty much ready to start planting your seeds. What you're going to do is follow the instructions on the back of each of your seed packets. They'll say, oh, plant this seed a 1/4 inch down, for example. So what you'll do is you'll take a pencil or a small stick, whatever you have at hand, and you're going to dibble little holes in the center of each of the plugs, about a 1/4 inch deep. Once you've done that, you're pretty much ready to put your seeds in. So you'll take your seed packet, open it up, and take out ideally just as many seeds as you need. So you guys each will have 8 6-packs. So maybe you want to do 2 6-packs of lettuce, 4 6-packs of kale, 1 of poppies, 1 of tomatoes. You can mix and match. But make sure that you keep in mind where you're planting which seeds. So start with 1, say the lettuce, plant those, and then you'll fill out your plant label and put it in that 6-pack. That way you don't get it mixed up and accidentally label your kale as your lettuce. Once you've filled all of the plugs this way, you just take a little bit of the remaining potting mix and just crumble it over the top of all of the plugs and just level it out just to fill in the holes. You can also just essentially use your pencil or whatever you use to dibble the holes to just backfill the holes over the seeds. So at that point, you've got all your seeds in, you label everything, you want to put the name of the plant that you've used, the variety, and the date that you sowed it. And then you put the plant label just on the inner edge of one of the plugs. You don't want to put it in the middle of the mix because that's going to compress the mix more than you want. And then all you have to do is place your plugs where you want them. Ideally you want a nice south-facing window, somewhere with lots of natural light but not too hot. So preferably not, say, a southwest-facing window that gets really hot. Maybe an east-facing window, if maybe you have a kitchen counter that's facing the east or the southeast. So once you've got those placed, you can keep them in the tray that you're going to have. That'll kind of help with the watering so you don't have water spilling out the bottoms of the plugs. But you're not going to be aiming to get any spillage. When you're watering these seeds for germination, you just want them to get damp. Just enough that they are as damp as they'd be in a wrung-out wet paper towel. And you're just going to gently water the seedlings. You don't want to use any heavy water, like running it under a sink, or high velocity water, which would be like if you have at your kitchen sink one of those sprayers. That's too strong. Nice and gentle, and not too much, just enough to make sure that the seeds are damp. And you're going to basically do this every day or so. You want to keep an eye on them to make sure that they don't get dried out at any point. But you also don't want them to be waterlogged, so you don't want to be watering consistently, but they didn't need it, for example. So just keep an eye on your seedlings, make sure they're seeds, make sure that they stay damp, and you'll start to see them germinate in between 7-15 days. It depends on the species that we're talking about, but your plant packets will say the expected germination time. Now, as they start to germinate, they're going to develop roots, and as they develop roots, they're going to need more water, also because they're going to be starting to photosynthesize as their leaves emerge. So you'll start to increase the amount of water that you give them, but gradually, in little increments, and again, you want to make sure that you're watering as gently as you can. Now, on the back of the instruction sheets that you're going to get are instructions for transplanting. This will be happening a couple weeks later, once your seedlings have developed some good true leaves and their roots have really started to fill in the individual plugs. That way, when you pull them out to transplant them into the garden, the soil mix will stay together as the roots are binding all that soil mix together. Now, we're planning on putting together a Zoom meeting so that we can discuss this process together. You guys can ask me any questions you might have. You can tell me about what you learned in the process, if there were any challenges that came across,